Hi everyone, it's James here from Pro Tools Expert, back with another sort of gear review. I've been doing some drum recording in the studio this morning, quelle surprise, it's what I do, using this baby. This is the PreSonus Studio 192 interface, and it's a thing of beauty. It's not only a thing of visual beauty, but it's also a thing of aural beauty. More on that shortly. So what we'll do is we'll do the quick tour front and back so you can check out the connectivity on this thing. There's nothing particularly unusual about it. It's all good high grade stuff. It sounds absolutely fantastic. But what I really want to concentrate on is the thing that makes this thing really stand out for me is its user friendliness and the way it kind of lends itself to sort of one-man band studios like what I is. So yeah, let's dive in, get up close and personal, and I'll show you some of the cool things. So here we are up close and personal on the right hand side of the PreSonus Studio 192. 192K of course, 24-bit of course, 26 in, 32 out over USB 3. Pretty impressive I/O count. So our first two inputs around the front are these Neutrik style Combi XLR jacks. These are XLR and jack inputs, not only line inputs but also our high impedance high Z instrument inputs. Scanning across a little bit more, we have our preamp control section. These two arrows allow me to scroll between the 8 mic pre's, upper gain control, and phantom power on and off. We then have our talkback, which can either be the internal microphone, which is just there, or it can be assigned from one of the mic inputs, dim and mute, and our mono check. We then move over to the meters, so we can see 48 volt phantom power across all 8 mic pre's, or not in the case of channel 2, and our input meters, nice big LED inputs. We then have our main master meters, nice big chunky volume control, which controls our main monitor outputs, 2 completely independent headphone outputs. At the moment, headphone output 1 is configured to the main mix, and headphone output 2 is one of the mix buses, and of course the power switch. Around the back, we have 6 more XLR Combi jack inputs. These are mic and line only. We then have 10 balanced TRS outputs, 2 for our monitors, and of course another 8 line outs. Word clock connection over BNC, SPDIF, and our 2 sets of ADA optical I/O. We then have the USB 3 connection, which works on Mac just as well on a conventional USB 2 style connector as it does with the USB 3 style, and the power supply. So when using the PreSonus Studio 192, one of the first things you're going to need to do is download the Universal Control app. And that's this thing here, and if I click on where it says Studio 192, I get to all the controls of the 192. So I haven't got to start diving over reaching for hardware, which is really, really cool because it means I can control the preamp level, the gain level effectively. I can turn phantom power on and off. But what's really cool is I can do all of this from an iPad. So as a one-man band, I haven't got to be in here or next to the pre's. I can be in the drum room tweaking, making sure I get all the levels down to tape or to disc as cleanly and as neatly as possible. Really, really nice. A real time saver. So yes, there are plenty of apps that will control Pro Tools, but not that many pieces of hardware that are directly iPad controllable. This is a really nice feature. So I've got all my inputs available here. And at the moment, I'm looking at the main mix. Now, I've got many different mix options. A different mix for each output on the device. So I could effectively have 8 different Q mixes, which would be nice. I've also got my DAW returns. And in this case, I've paired them up as a stereo pair because this is my 2 returns from Pro Tools. Now, one of the neat little things that I really like is I can actually label these up. I can't change the name of the individual channel, but what I can do is I can mark it for what it is. So in this case, it's the inside kick mic. I could go on to snare, and let's put the snare drum in, snare drum top, hi-hat, and so on. Very, very neat, really cool, just so I can label everything up and see exactly what's going on. Much easier, actually, than having stuff written down. You have to read it. It's much quicker to see it from icons, I think. So, over into Pro Tools, I've actually got a template from PreSonus preset, so I can just go in, boom, and away I go. Everything's labeled up, everything's ready to go. Of course, I've labeled my channels appropriately, so I get something more meaningful than mic 1, mic 2, mic 3, and I get my audio files back. But you can see here all the inputs on the Studio 192 available to me. So what I'm going to do now is just play you back 2 passes of the drum track I've been working on this morning. The first one is going to be completely flat, no mix whatsoever, just exactly what I was hearing on the cans. The second one, we'll start just pulling the mix about a little bit, still no EQ, no compression or dynamics. Quite frankly, at this stage, I don't think I need it. One of my clients said to me the other day, "What plugins did you put on when you sent the stems over?" I said, "Nothing. They were just flat stems." Most of the time, my clients don't want me to pre-mix the drums. They want to have the control of the EQ, the dynamics, the reverb. Occasionally I get asked to, but not very often. The second version will just have some slight tweaks with regard to level. I'll pull the overheads back a bit, maybe pull the toms back a little bit. But other than that, it's pretty much the same mix. All that does for me is it just tidies the mix out a bit. Pulling the overheads back a bit. Yes, I know the overhead sound is so important, but I tend to use the overhead mics to mic the cymbals rather than to mic the kit. I know that's a very controversial thing to say, where we're all going for minimalism and one mic techniques, things like that. But I like my cymbals to be mic'd up separately so I have some control. So, the PreSonus Studio 192, I love it. Of course, these days, there's very, very few bad bits of gear out there, but this thing sounds great. The audio quality is lovely. The drums sound really, really cool. I know I do a lot of drum recording, and I know I put a lot of drum recording up on the site, but if you so choose, you could go back through some of my interface reviews and just check out the audio quality. This thing really stands up, and pound for pound, this is an amazing deal. The thing I really love about it is the number of different options you have for control. Yes, you can dive in on the front panel if you want to, but you've also got the Universal Control app, and you've also got the Universal Control app for iPad, which is a one-man band, is a real saviour. I've not been able to tweak gains and things on microphone preamps for so long in there. It's always a case of running backwards and forwards, which quite frankly is a bit of a pain in the you-know-where. The 8 XMAX preamps in this thing sound really great. They're working really well with high transient material such as drums. Loads of connectivity on this thing. Everything feels really well made. It's nicely put together. This particular unit does look like it's done the rounds of kind of reviewers and such, but it's still going absolutely strong. Sounding great, looking pretty good. It just works. What can I say? So what it all comes down to for me, or certainly for my ears, is sound quality. The drums sound great through this thing. We've put no EQ, no compression, no gates or anything like that. A slight push and pull on the mix. Even the flat mix, I think, sounded really, really good. I love the fact that the ADAT optical inputs on this thing allow us to stack another 2 lots of 8 channels of mic pre in. Maybe the PreSonus model, or I may even choose to stack in some of my Audient ASP series. But this thing is certainly flexible. 24 channels over USB 3, which effectively means my Mac Pro will keep going that little bit longer. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I've been James from Pro Tools Expert, and I'll see you again soon for some more gear talk.